Hi there, it's Melanie Foltz-Mayers from Eden Mayes HR Consulting to keep you out of trouble and delivering your passion. So I'm back again to talk to you about another tip for increasing your relations with your staff, basically. So I have spoken, so the last few videos done, I have spoken about building rapport, I've spoken about building trust, I've spoken about setting boundaries, and I've talked about setting objectives. So today I want to talk to you about focusing on the outcome. So the reason why I want to speak to you about focusing on the outcome is often a big bugbear or a big issue is that people focus on the problem rather than focusing on the outcome. And so in an organisation that can kind of tend to lead to a blame culture. So rather than having a culture where there's a problem, there's an issue, there's an emergency, you're looking at how to solve it, how to fix it, how to make sure your clients are happy. Actually, the bigger thing is whose responsibility is this? Who got it wrong? What happened? And while there's definitely time to do that, there's definitely time to do the whole forensic check on what happened, what was the issue, what do we need to fix. The important thing really is about how it's solved. And I think that often that can lead to a breakdown in relationships with your staff. So if something goes wrong, because things go wrong, nobody's perfect. Everybody makes mistakes. I'm sure I make a ton of mistakes every day. Everybody makes mistakes. But the point is, obviously if there's an issue, then you need to go through a formal process and deal with that. But generally speaking, things slip up, people, a deadline might slip, something might happen, and yes, it's not great, and yes, you need to address that. But immediately, rather than it being, what you did, this you did wrong, what happened, why isn't this? The question is, okay, fine, how do we fix this? So if you can be focused on the solution rather than focused on the problem, how do we solve this problem? How do we make sure it doesn't happen again? What protocols do we need to put in place? What frameworks do we need to put in place? Those things help to build a much better, happier relationship. And I think the other thing is that if you play the blame game every time something goes wrong, typically what happens is nobody wants to tell you. So I can tell you that I had a boss a while back, and literally the moment she heard that there was a problem, she kind of wanted to get in there. So she wanted to get in there and find out what happened and fix the problem. And actually she kind of escalated it because she'd add all this additional nuance that wasn't necessarily necessary. Whereas I could be sat with my team, they could say so-and-so has happened. I say, okay, fine, this has happened. Right, so what do we need to do to fix it? We need to change this thing, we need to make this thing, we need to, let's do all of these things. Okay, now let's go back and have a look at it. Once we've sorted it and everybody's happy, now let's go back and look at what happened, what can we do to ensure this doesn't happen the next time. Whereas, she would want to play the blame game, and she want to know who was at fault and what was, what didn't they do and what was the issue and why didn't they do it, and all of that great stuff. And yes, there's time and a place for that, but actually it's a bit like but what used to happen is it meant that when there was a problem, we would never go to her. If there was a problem, we would go and we'd solve it and we'd resolve it, and then we would go and say, right, so that this has happened, it wasn't great, but this has happened, and this is how we fixed it, and now everything's fine. And that's what we did, and it made it difficult because you were, lying by omission, basically. You weren't telling her what was happening because you didn't want it to add to your stress and add to the time it would take you to fix the problem. And it meant that we didn't have trust in her. We didn't have trust that she would be able to help us. So we tried to do things without letting her know, which isn't the greatest thing to do. And as a manager, if something's happening, you want to know. So if your boss then says to you, what the hell's happened, you want to be able to say, oh, this and this and this is what we're doing. So it's counterproductive to constantly seek to find someone to blame. The thing to focus on is, okay, this has happened, this is a mistake. How do we fix it? How do we make sure that it doesn't happen again? And focus on that. So that's one reason for why you need to focus on the outcome. The other reason for focusing on the outcome, which is probably more positive, is the fact that not everybody will do things the same way that you do. So I know that my business is my baby. And so there are things that I've been doing from the beginning, whether it's things on the website, social media, all of those things. Now, where all of those things are outsourced, I now have to understand that it might not be done in the way that I would do it. It might not be done in the way that I would like it to be done, but it's absolutely fine and it's working perfectly. So rather than me getting caught up in the detail around what's happening, I need to focus on the outcome. The outcome is I need my social media posts twice a day. I need to make sure my blogs go out. I need to make sure the newsletters go out. The fact is that they're happening. It's being done. And actually it's taking time away from me. So now I just write content and it all gets done beautifully. It might not be done exactly the way that I would have done it, but it's done. And so sometimes that's also the thing that you need to remember. It's not the how, it's the outcome. So not how it's done, but the fact that it's done. As long as it's done with quality, as long as it's done with professionalism, that's all that matters. Everybody won't do things the way that you do. And sometimes they'll find a quicker and more efficient way to do stuff. And that's the thing that you need to remember. You need to open up those opportunities for your staff to take ownership of things, for them to realise, actually, this is mine and I can do with it as I will. And so long as the outcome is that this happens when it's supposed to happen, it doesn't matter how I get there. It doesn't matter if I'm up till midnight the night before doing it or if I've done it 5 days in advance. The point is, if it's done on time, on deadline, on point, then there should be nothing to worry about. So those are the 2 reasons why you really need to be outcome focused when it comes to managing your team, because you need to build your trust in them that they will get the stuff done. You need to be able to let go, because if you can let go, you can do more things. And I definitely know for me, I can do so much more for my clients now that I'm not getting bogged down with so much of the marketing stuff, and I get to do lovely things like this. So, you know, normally I'd be, you know, online and posting and blogging and doing all of those kind of things, but actually it means that out of my day I can schedule a little time to record some YouTube videos, because I've managed to do that. So you need to remember that if you focus on the objective with your team, rather than how they're doing things, it will also free you up to focus on something else. So those would be my 2 key points really. Focus on the outcome, because it works from a point of view of your staff feeling comfortable to come to you and not feeling that they'll be blamed if there's an issue, and also from a point of view of them having ownership of what they do and just getting on with it. So I hope you've really enjoyed the series of 5. If you like it, please like, comment, share, subscribe to our channel, press the bell so that you'll be notified every time we put a new YouTube video up. And if there's some more HR stuff that you'd like to know about, post it in the comments, let us know, and we will definitely aim to get some videos up about those things too. So anyway, have a lovely time, have a great day, and I'll see you again real soon. Bye bye.